Hey, it's Loren Lockman. I'm coming to you from Tanglewood. I'm sitting here with Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
Great.
Yeah. So you're about to leave us, and you've been here. Seems like forever.
Yeah.
It's been a while now. This is what, about 7 weeks?
Just about.
Yeah, not quite 7 weeks. 6.5 weeks, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So let's talk a little about why you decided to fast for so long, and how your experience was. What was going on for you?
Yeah. I guess just to preface everything, I guess one of the major points, not the only points of these videos, is to explain the experience to the viewer.
Sure.
And just want to engage the viewer just for a second.
Yeah, of course.
Where good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be that you're watching this, it's a good time. And there's much empathy having been on the viewer side, seems like countless times until coming here and going through a wide range of different feelings and emotions.
Sure.
Probably initially starting off with a rejection and a denial.
Sure. Sure, disbelief.
And then that kind of shifts to curiosity, maybe a little excitement.
Sure.
And
a little bit of fear, perhaps?
Yeah, and I think on it, the whole time that there's this creeping doubt.
Right.
That's
sure.
Kind of always there.
It sounds a bit radical. None of us grew up thinking this is how you heal your body.
Yeah. And a lot of people's term for radical, I guess, is crazy.
Right.
In today's terminology.
Absolutely.
So, just learning slowly but surely that what's considered crazy and normal is really based on norms and standards, and then ultimately expectations.
Exactly.
And that those change drastically from society to society.
Right.
And even more drastically over the history of time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
it's an excellent point.
Yeah, and just, what's been considered norms of previous generations or even in other societies would be considered absolutely crazy, where some places of the world today even, you can go to the restroom on the side of the road, and in other places you'll be arrested for that and called a crazy man.
Well, that's right. I mean, I don't know if this is true for you. I don't know what your younger years were like, but there was a period of my life where I did all kinds of things that at the time, that was normal for people my age. Drinking all night, several nights a week, using substances. Today I would never consider those things. And so even as we go through our own life, as we move through different stages of life, what's normal and crazy may change.
And it's tough because there's so much conflicting or contrasting opinions on what is optimal health.
Right.
And I'm finding that a lot of disagreement or arguments that are had, more often than not, are had because not necessarily a disagreement on the principle itself, but perhaps might be misusing, or we have different definitions for a term that we're both commonly using.
That's often the case. Yeah.
And so we're relating to that terms in different ways.
Right.
And thereby creating this friction.
Sure.
And so how do we define these things? How do we define health? And is health, as you say, being fit? Does fit mean being healthy? And is the simple state of not being diagnosed with a chronic illness, is that considered healthy?
Lack of symptoms, that's health, according to many people. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So let's talk about any specific shifts that have occurred for you as you get ready to head out of here in a couple days. What is it that's actually shifted for you so far?
It's almost hard to explain or put into words.
Well, again, you weren't dealing with specific conditions.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more subtle than it's going to be for some of the other people. Right.
But I've still felt a tremendous shift in just the movement of my body.
Okay.
We discussed this one. It wasn't a significant change from yesterday, but since the entire process, it's been a significant change.
Right.
And the digestion, and yeah, just a mode of thinking.
Beautiful.
Feeling a lot more clarity and a lot more sticking to will of things that I want to be doing. A lot more motivation for that, and less
Okay.
fear of not doing it.
I think there's a term for that. It sounds like empowerment.
Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic. Good. Anything else in particular you'd like to say about your experience here? Was it positive? What would you like
Yeah.
to say about it?
I guess first I'd just like to thank my parents, and just a couple of people specifically have certainly gotten me here, and I think my parents definitely don't do it often enough, and brought me up in an incredible way, and incredible values, and character traits of, I'm not going to say ultimately leading me here as this being the penultimate, but one of them.
I think it is.
Yeah. Definitely is up there. Yeah, my brother, my sister also, and pretty much everybody I grew up with. And specifically when I grew up in, we go to the land of Israel for a year after high school to try to connect to God a little bit in a way, connect to ourselves a little bit in a way that we just didn't really do as much.
Might be easier away from the culture you grew up in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like here a little bit, just taking a little bit of time away.
Sure.
And there specifically I met Rabbi Rakowski from Old City, Jerusalem. And it's very limiting to say that there's a lot of influence that was had there. But I guess specifically to this conversation, just started to introduce really, for the first time on a real level, the effect of food and diet and lifestyle, and how that has on our ultimate being. And really planting that seed, as well as many other seeds for growth in many other ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, every experience that we ever have in life is propelling us forward. And so,
And offers us the potential for growth.
yeah.
Yeah. No question.
And so the ultimate experience here, incredibly positive, and that's what this one, like, I guess to speak to the viewer again, because it's, you go through all these videos, who do you trust? This is a video on your channel. Am I just here to speak about how great it is? What are you pitching? What am I pitching? What is everyone pitching? Where's the edge? Where's the angle? And you get to a certain point where you've either seen enough and you're ready to go, or you'll never see enough. And no matter what you see, you're always looking for that proof.
Right. Exactly.
And that creeping doubt's a little bit there, but I don't know, I've seen enough. I've seen enough with yourself. You speak about an excellent point on how oftentimes we're preoccupied with the nutrient content of the food, and if it has that many nutrients, it must be good for me. What we should ultimately be preoccupied with is how those nutrients are getting assimilated into the cells of our body.
Exactly.
And you can apply that same principle with learning or any other knowledge.
Absolutely.
And I think the way you give over the knowledge in real, such simplicity and clarity allows the listener to have that information be assimilated into the body versus, what are we learning for? Can go in 1 year out the other year. That's the same thing as eating food and just getting eliminated.
Exactly.
You want to retain as much.
That's right.
And so the knowledge combined with the experience is like the perfect 1-2 punch that you have here. And the tremendous level of care. Really, it's more of a head, body, head, a little 3 action. But yeah, the tremendous level of care here, it's really, the positive experience is is probably stemming from feeling very comfortable, very comforting. Everything seems very way out there. This whole time of, I probably made a little bit of a mistake of telling too many people in advance. I know you had mentioned one time of don't tell anyone until going 2 days beforehand. But sometimes it's this information that sometimes you wanna scream it out in the streets.
Sure.
We had that conversation at one point as to, but, so, yeah, a lot of feeling crazy, a lot of all of these, more of feeding into that doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
But there's no room for doubt. And that's just at the end of the day, in
Well,
yourself. And,
the bottom line is that the average person gets increasingly sicker and more toxic over time. There are people who find a path that allows them to begin cleansing and healing. They sometimes make the mistake of thinking that because they're seeing some success, they found what's best. And what we offer people is the opportunity to give your body the greatest chance to cleanse and heal. The results are pretty astonishing in most cases, pretty dramatic, and incredibly powerful. So,
yeah, so I guess I'll just end off with is a phrase we say in the morning prayer that King David said in the Psalms. Is that how you pronounce it? Psalms?
Psalms.
Psalms.
Yeah.
And it says like, Al tiftachu v'nedivim b'ven adam she'eno teshua. Don't trust in nobles, or any other human being for that matter, or they don't provide salvation. So, don't trust me. Don't trust Loren. Trust yourself.
Exactly. Listen to your own intuition.
And ultimately, hopefully, when you have all this belief in yourself and you get away from the doubts, then there's trusting God in all your heart, and your own understanding, don't rely on. And no room for doubt. And I almost want to make myself available for people. It's like because there's always questions about the experience, and people want to hear it outside of
I'll
the
tell
realm.
you what we can do.
Yeah.
Once the video's up, we'll let you know. You can then go there and respond to questions.
Yeah.
Anyone can ask you any question they like. You've got the space to respond.
Yeah, and it's a serious process, but not a dangerous one if I think done with the correct people who really know what
If you're doing what you need to.
know what they're doing.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure
Yeah.
and a privilege to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Yeah. Folks, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
You will.
Your feet are on the dashboard, my eyes on the road. I always knew I'd get here, I just thought I'd